everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing the first of a little mini series that I'm going to be creating here on my channel, and that series is going to be all about starting your kit. So it's basically a breakdown of the big how I became a makeup artist video that I made, and it got a lot of really good feedback and people want to hear more. So I thought, why not do a little series that breaks it all down so I can talk about everything in a bit more depth. So the first one that I'm going to be talking about today is brushes. So all about how to start your kit and collect a really good collection of brushes to start with. So I'm going to be breaking down into what brands I really recommend, what's really affordable and is going to give you a good base to get started. And I'm also going to be talking about individual brushes that I love and use that might give you some help as to what you might want to put into your collection. So it's also kind of like my favorite brushes video as well. One thing that I really believe in when it comes to brushes is quality over quantity. So it's really important to have really good quality brushes. I always tell people that it's exactly like writing an essay. You would never write an essay with a crap pen that was running out or really cheap quality, because you wouldn't be able to finish your essay. It doesn't matter what's up here and how much, brain power you have and how much you've studied. If your pen doesn't work, it's not going to help you. It's the exact same as brushes. It doesn't matter how much money you spend on products, how much money you spend on lessons, how good you are. If you've got bad brushes, it's just not going to work. So firstly, I want to talk about all of my favorite brands for brushes that are really affordable, and how to get together a brush kit in the most affordable way. So the first one I'm going to talk about is Zoeva. So Zoeva is amazing because they do some really great affordable brush kits, and obviously buying brushes in a kit is so much more affordable than buying them individually, especially if they're good ones from a good company. So Zoeva definitely wins it in my books for brush kits. The Zoeva Rose Gold collection, which this brush is from, is absolutely amazing. I have that one, and it gives you a really nice set of brushes. The one thing that you need to be really careful of with brush kits is sometimes companies decrease the quality of the brushes in brush kits in order to sell them cheaper. So keep that in mind. Feel the individual ones compared to the kit ones. At Inglot, I know the kit one is so much cheaper than buying individual ones, but the quality is so poor that it's just not worth it. And the brushes that are in there are just like, I just look at it and I'm like, what the hell am I going to use this for? Like, it's just not needed. So just be careful with that as well. Like, actually look at the kit and go, am I going to use these brushes? Are these the brushes that I need? If half of the brushes in there you're not even going to use and you're like, what is this for? Then it's probably not worth your money. But the Rose Gold collection is a really good starting base. So I recommend getting one of those collections, sorry about my phone, getting one of those collections from Zoeva as your starting base, and then going and buying individual brushes to fill in the holes. So that's kind of the basis that I'm going to go off for this video. So I'm going to assume that you've bought a nice little kit. The Rose Gold collection is kind of what I'm going to feature, and then you go and buy individual brushes to fill the gaps for what you need that works for you. And the other brand I'm going to be mentioning in this video is Inglot. I use a lot of Inglot brushes. I did used to work there, so I obviously got very familiar with their brushes, but I also think that the quality is quite good for the price. They start at about $25 for a brush. They do go all the way up to about $88 for a brush. So in the middle, you've got a lot of just really good priced brushes for their quality. At the end of the day, brushes last a lifetime. It's not like a makeup product. We'll spend $60 on a highlighter and it'll run out or break. Brushes don't do that. They're there with you for life, like literally life. So they're definitely worth the investment, even though they're a bit more boring to spend money on than highlighter and all those fun products. I'm also going to mention some Morphe brushes in my videos. So obviously Morphe is a quite affordable brand. The only thing that you do have to be really careful about with Morphe is that they have a lot of different collections, and the different collections are varying extremely in quality. So the Gunmetal collection I know is really good, and anything that starts with the letter M, so it's like brush, this one for example is M401. So anything that's like M and a number, those ones are really good too. I've forgotten like what that collection is called, but it starts with an M. Cool. So now I'm going to go through what I use for like each different application so that you can kind of see what I like. And then yeah, we'll go from there. So for foundation, I pretty much always use a sponge. So if you're a sponge person like me, sorry, this one is dirty. But yeah, any kind of like Beauty Blender sponge. So obviously there's Beauty Blender, the big and expensive brand. I actually don't really like the Beauty Blender's brand ones as much anymore. I love these ones, and these are the Model Rock sponges. So they come in, and you can buy them singly, but you can also buy a pack of 3 for $24.95. I know, like, drop the mic, $24.95, like it's just insane. They're such good quality, they're really soft. I dropped it, so it's on the other side of the room now, so I'm not gonna pick it up. But they are so amazing, and I can't believe the quality. They are literally spot on, and they feel up so much softer than the actual Beauty Blender brand ones do. Really nice and tapered. They're a little bit bigger. I just absolutely love those. I know Morphe does really good ones as well, and they do ones that have like flat sides on them, so you can really get into like some hard to reach spots and get things a bit more precise. I definitely do want to try out some of those, but I haven't actually tried them yet, but I have heard that they're really good quality, so that's also one that you could go for. If you are more of a brush person, for foundation on a brush, I use the Inglot 21T brush. So Inglot brushes are kind of, I guess they're a little bit expensive. This kind of brush, most brushes are pretty good. You just want something kind of like thin. I've seen ones like this before and they're like thick the whole way through, and they kind of don't have a flat end. Like you kind of want to be able to, like when you pull the brushes like that, it's really thin on the end. You want that because that's going to help make like a nice finish. If it's really thick, then you'll get lines and stuff. But I highly recommend this one, and I think it's about $40. On from foundation. For powder application, I just use a nice big fluffy brush. So my powder brush is this one here. I love it, and I also use this one for bronzer. So that's another big tip that I have in order to save money for your brush kit, and that would be to have brushes that do multiple things. So this one I use for all over powder, and I also use it for bronzer. Because it's tapered on the ends, it really fits into that little socket really nicely. So this is the M401 brush from Morphe. For a blush, my favorite blush brush is from Zoeva. So Zoeva? I think I prefer Zoeva, so I'm just gonna say Zoeva. This is the 127 Luxe Sheer Cheek, and this one is from the Rose Gold collection. So if you do choose to purchase that, then this one's in it, and I think it's in a lot of their collections. So I definitely recommend this one. It's so nice. Highlighting. So fan brushes are people's normal go-to for highlighting. This is a tiny little fan brush, but for example, it's one of those brushes. Everyone's always like, oh my god, fan brush, but it just makes the highlight just like, bye, just bye. Like really, we want a beaming highlight, and we want it to be concentrated in the one spot. If you use a fan brush, it's going to end up all over your face. And so instead I use a Inglot 4SS brush. So it's like this. It looks like a really big fat blending brush, and I focus it right in that spot and then buff it up and out, and it is so amazing. This brush I think is $30 to $40, but it is so worth it. It's the best highlighter brush, but it's also so universal. Like you can use it for setting under the eyes, setting the eyes, like it's just such a good brush, so I definitely recommend that one. For blending, I have a few different ones. So blending is something that I think is a massive importance in terms of you need the best possible brushes to blend to get the best result. Like the brushes will make such a difference to how your blend turns out. So for can't talk. For brushes that I use for blending, I have all of these like with me all the time. Then I also have, so basically I have my little canisters that sit on my table. And then I also have my brush belt, and my brush belt lives in my Zuka, which is like where I carry all my makeup around with. And that one like has all extra brushes in it that I don't really use that often. But these ones are all with me like all the time. And I have a few like double ups in here, but I'm just gonna quickly whiz through some highlights for you. So the first one I'm gonna talk about is a little diamond in the rough. It's the Models Preferred Professional MPP 120 Crease. The reason why this one is so special is because it is from Priceline and it was quite cheap, maybe $15, and it is a really nice shaped blending brush. So I do highly recommend this one. Now, the difference between one of that price and one like this one that's pretty much the same kind of thing, but from Inglot, is I find that the Inglot one lasts so much longer. This one I have to replace every few months because the hairs just fall out. The ferrule just doesn't hold on to anything. The ferrule is like the metal part of the brush with like all the glue that like holds all the bristles in. That just obviously isn't of a high enough quality because they just kind of go a bit and they go a bit like scratchy and hard, if you know what I mean. Whereas this one just stays so soft and like it warms up enough. It's kind of like, you know, when you buy a pair of shoes and at the start they're like a bit uncomfortable and they're not really working. That's what brushes can be like at the start. And once you like work with it, it kind of molds to you. This one molds to you. This one molds a bit too far and it just turns into junk. But I still highly recommend it. But this one is my favorite blending brush. It is the 6SS from Inglot. I highly recommend this one. Another affordable option for you would be the Zoeva blending brushes. So I have a few here. This one is from the Rose Gold collection. It's a Luxe Soft Definer number 227. And it looks like that. This one is what I call a pack and blend brush, which is like these ones here are all pack and blend brushes. If I can grab them all in one hand. These are all what I call pack and blend brushes. They're my favorite to use. They're in the shape of like a brush that you would use to pack, but they're nice and soft and fluffy. So you can get that color packed on, but it also diffuses it at the same time. So the 227 is really good for that. I have two of the 227 actually. One from the Rose Gold collection, just a normal one. The MAC 217 is also like that. That's your most expensive option. And then your cheapest, and then a middle of the range option, which is actually my favorite one to use. I find it works the best out of all of them, is the 48SS brush. And I do not do a look without this brush. It is amazing. So get your hands on this one if you can. But I definitely reckon you probably need 3 blending brushes in your kit to start off with. A crease brush, pack and blend brush, and then an all over diffuse brush. Next kind of a brush I'm going to talk about is for cutting the crease and packing on color, and that is the Artiste Manicure Concealer Brush. So I was recommended this one by Makeup with Jar when I did my lesson with her, and I have not looked back. This brush is so cheap, which is amazing for the fact that these kinds of brushes you do have to replace quite a lot. Liner brushes and brushes that you use to cut the crease, A, they're working with liquid products a lot rather than powders, and B, they have to be so perfect so that you can get the perfect result. So sometimes you just have to replace them a bit more so they stay in that perfect condition. But this one is absolutely amazing for cutting the crease. So I definitely highly recommend it, and I'm pretty sure they're like $15. Next is liner brushes. So liner again is kind of where the whole art brush thing comes in. So I have like these kinds of brushes. They just come in handy for like anything really. If you like have a festival client, they want like dots or anything like that, they're just really good to have on hand. And then my favorite liner brush is the Inglot 31T. Hands down, it is so precise, It's just, this one's actually starting to fray a bit. You do have to replace these ones more than you would with any other brush. As I said with that concealer one I spoke about just before, they do kind of get out of shape a little bit quicker, and it matters when these get out of shape because you need them to be perfect. But I really do love this one, and it's only $25, so in my opinion that's quite affordable. That's really good for brows and for liner. I use the same brush. I have two of them, one's my liner and one's my brows. And contour. So for contour I use the 109 face paint from Zoeva. It looks like this. Just really gets in there. I love that one. Another one that's really good is the Hoola brush that comes with the bronzer. I love that one. So if you buy the bronzer anyway, use that brush. It works perfectly fine. It's amazing. And it'll save you some dollars. So now that I'm done talking about like those kind of fave brushes, and kind of trying to help you guys out, I'm just going to talk quickly about how I clean my brushes, because I often get a lot of questions about that as well. So in between clients, I sanitize my brushes. So I use alcohol. I grab my alcohol from Scotty's. It is a shop in Melbourne on Nicholson Street, I believe. But yeah, I think you can get like isopropyl alcohol from Bunnings and all that jazz. So I use that in between clients. The one that I use has a little bit of a moisturizer in it as well, so it's good for my brushes at the same time. It still dries really quick. So it's an instant dry to sanitize my brushes and get the color out. Then once every few weeks, when my brushes are getting a bit gluggy, I give them a full hand wash. So to hand wash them, I use the Sard soap. You can get it from your laundry aisle. It's about $2, but it works so well. I just lather up the brushes on the soap bar and then just squeeze out all the soap and then let them out to dry. It's really important when you leave them out to dry. I leave them on a table with the end of the edge. Never leave them in your cup like this, because all the water is gonna go down into the ferrule and break down the glue, and then off with your head. They'll just break and fall apart and not last as long. So like this, you can actually, yeah, leave it like this, but never like this. So I just wanted to quickly mention as well my brush belt. My brush belt is from Crown Brushes. It zips up on the sides and it has lots of little pockets on it. And I really like it, so that's really handy for if you're a makeup artist. Check out crownbrush.com. I can't remember how much it was. I bought it from IMATS 2 years ago now, but definitely check it out. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys learned something from this video. I'm going to keep up bringing more of these. I think the next one I'm going to do is going to be foundations for your kids. So building up a foundation collection, how many shades you need, all of that jazz, but I'll keep that for next time. Yeah, I hope you all learned something, and if you have any questions, please leave them down below. I'm always happy to answer any questions that you guys have, and it'll always give me ideas for new videos. There was a lot to cover in this video, but hopefully I got through it all somehow. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye! Oh, and remember to like and comment and subscribe.